Good evening. This is CTV News for Tuesday, June 18th. I'm Melissa Wright.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Well, the search for a new chief executive for the Prince George's School District is over, and the new leader is a familiar face. Interim CEO Monica Goldson has officially been named permanent CEO, ending months of speculation about who would follow her predecessor, Dr. Kevin Maxwell, who resigned in May of 2018 following a series of controversies. Supporters, including school board members, union leaders, and state lawmakers, filled the conference room at the Wayne K. Curry Administration Building for the much-anticipated announcement.
I am honored to lead this amazing school district. I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that today would be possible. Never. Because I live in a society where only 1% of African American women lead urban school districts. And today is historic for me. And it's historic for Prince George's County, because I am the first native Prince Georgian woman to lead this district in over 100 years. You should know in all there were 20 candidates from across the nation who were identified by the search firm in this process. And of those 20, 3 finalists were sent to me by the selection committee. I had the opportunity to meet all 3 of the candidates. You should know that I sat down with them and had an opportunity as well to interview them. And while I was impressed with the overall quality of all of the candidates, you should know that Dr. Monica Goldson was the clear-cut choice, and this was a very easy decision.
And the school board will negotiate the terms of Goldson's contract, including the dollar amount and length of that contract. Among Goldson's ardent supporters is Teachers Union President Teresa Dudley, who was at today's announcement. The Prince George's Educators Association represents some 9,000 teachers, guidance counselors, and others in the school system. Dudley says she's happy with today's announcement.
I think this is a wonderful selection. I think she has demonstrated that she's a hero for our employees in the county, as was demonstrated by the contract that we just tentatively agreed to with the Teachers Union Educators Association. And I'm looking forward to continuing to have a good working relationship with her, with Dr. Thornton, and the entire school board. It's not an easy journey. We've had our moments, but you know what? It's time for Prince George's County Public Schools to coalesce with our leadership and make our school the best school system that we can with the resources we have available to us.
And Goldson will lead 130,000 plus students and 22,000 employees.
The Census Bureau is gearing up to count the U.S. population next year, but there are some challenges that could affect those numbers after President Trump threatens to deport millions of undocumented immigrants starting next week. At today's County Council meeting, Councilmember Denny Taveras expressed her concerns with Trump's plans. Taveras, who represents several predominantly Latino communities, say many residents may not be counted as they fear deportation, which means federal funding will not be fairly shared. Officials from the Census Bureau say increased immigration enforcement could likely scare households into not responding to the census. Second year in a row, the number of people killed on the nation's roadways dropped slightly. That's according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. According to preliminary estimates, over 36,000 people were killed in car crashes in 2018, a 1% decrease from 2017. Meantime, pedestrian and cyclist deaths are projected to increase 4% and 10% respectively.
14-year-old Kamal Nasheed was jogging at Church Road and Fairview Vista Drive when he tragically lost his life over the weekend. Nasheed, who just graduated from 8th grade, was hit by a car at what many are calling a very dangerous intersection.
Maryland State Delegate Eric Baran lives in the area and joins us now to share his concerns. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So one of the first questions I want to ask is, what is your reaction to this young man's death? How are you feeling?
I mean, first of all, my heart is just sore with grief for this young man and his family. You know, just an unnecessary and tragic loss of a promising life. And second of all, I'm angry. I'm angry at a county bureaucracy that has gotten in the way of traffic safety in this area. This community, the HOA leadership, and many individuals within the community have long, for years now, called for traffic safety measures in this very area. So it's just a wrong that we need to make right now.
So Delegate Barron, you actually live in this neighborhood. Tell us, what are we talking about? Is it that dangerous?
It is dangerous, and it really hits close to home because this young man was jogging in that area, and I frequently jog in the same area, sometimes a few times a week, and it's just not pedestrian friendly. Along this long stretch of Church Road, which is very narrow and one lane, there's not enough sidewalk and pedestrian-friendly and bike-friendly pathways there. So, and cars are going back and forth at high rates of speed. There's no stop lights. There's no traffic mitigation. Circles. There's a stoplight that there is a need for a stoplight right there at that intersection where he was hit and killed. That's what this community needs and is calling for right now.
The video we just saw, actually, you could see some sidewalks. So you're talking about portions of it that are not?
There are portions of it that are not. And in fact, right at that intersection, cars are speeding at high rates, well over the posted speed limits. Occasionally, we have police presence, but that's certainly not enough. It's not a consistent traffic mitigation scenario that would have potentially stopped this. We need a traffic light there. The community is calling for it. The density warrants it. And if the county bureaucracy had listened to the community years ago, this tragedy probably would never have happened.
So that brings me to my next question. How many complaints have you received? And you said years ago, so this is something that has obviously been brought to the forefront before.
Absolutely. So, we're still kind of investigating, all of the background, but I can tell you there's been at least 3 or 4 traffic safety studies done by the county in this area. And despite the concerns of the people, the residents who actually live there, these studies and the county bureaucracy, the Department of Public Works and Transportation for one, have said there's no problem, no safety measures needed. But the best study is actually comes from the survey of those who live there, and they've been calling for some traffic, measures for some time now, at least since 2010. So I've called on the county council member, the county executive, and the agency heads to have a meeting as soon as possible so that we can, figure out what we need to do and preferably have a traffic light at that intersection. There's no need for any more reports, assessments, studies. We know it's dangerous. Unfortunately, this proves it. Why do we have to, time and time again, have to have a tragedy like this before we institute, needed measures that have already been called for?
And you're just saying enough for the studies.
Enough for the studies. Enough is enough. And you know what? As a state official, I think there's a role for the state if we don't see some reasonable measures within short order. I happen to be a member of the Public Transit Caucus in the General Assembly, and certainly we'll have some oversight hearings over this department and over the issue of traffic studies generally, because obviously they aren't working, they aren't getting where we need to be.
All right, Delegate Barron, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for being here with us.